Good afternoon, all. Paul from CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Thursday afternoon, October 23rd. Looking at window traders market profile of the ES and NQ. So the game continues inside of this balance. We're having good discussions in the afternoon because this market really got quiet. The bulls though controlled the action as they went on our checklist sheet rather handily. 5-1 in ES, 6-0 in NQ. The one thing, though, that they failed to do is hold trend. ES failed to hold trend up. So did NQ. NQ multiple times. Righty, on the other hand, does hold a minuscule trend day. Now, again, this balance continues. It's just MGI all over the map inside of this. So righty goes out with a very small double distribution day and an afternoon pullback. They were 8 for 8 at one point. Never got 9 wide. NQ goes out with just an afternoon pullback. So now, yesterday they had nothing to lean on. Today they have a decent range, and they have nothing but that afternoon pullback. They only have a 5 wide point of control. ES goes out only with an afternoon pullback and a 6 wide POC. Now, ES has a poor high today. Righty also, I failed to mention, does. That's 2 out of 4 days now. Tuesday and now Thursday with poor highs. The discussion in the room is this balance. I think for me now, on the downside especially, I'll call it a 4-day bounce. And the reason for that is yesterday's low is still way away from the 10th low. So I think if we were to take out yesterday's low, I would call the daily down. Not losing sight of the big picture, because the big picture won't change till you come out of that 10th low, but I would call it down. Now, I don't think I would call it up if we took out Tuesday's high, because you're really a stone's throw away from the all-time high. So in that regard, I would still call balance until we got the all-time high if we took out Tuesday's high. That's how I'm going to look at it. Pretty much the same in NQ. Okay? If we take out Monday's high, I'm not going to use that as my balance. I'm going to use the all-time high. But if we take out yesterday's low, we are far enough away from the 10th low to say, okay, we're down on the daily. Of course, if and when we got to the 10th low, that would be something to really focus on. Okay? And these are the type of discussions we have when the market's really not doing much. You know, we said in the room at around 3 o'clock, I'm like, again, these buyers here got paid for their efforts. But then you started putting a lot of volume up here in both ES and in NQ. And I'm like, well, what are they getting for their efforts? And the answer is nothing. So the odds are what? They're going to give it up. And they did. That's all this was with Ampere. You just liquidate 2 hours worth of longs. Doesn't mean the market's bad. Doesn't mean the market's going down tomorrow. All it is a liquidation of longs for the prior 2 hours. Had a good day today. A, B, and C. Traded my personal account. I got long to get the overnight high in A. B period. Just some ebb and flow longs because it was, again, we want one time framing or anything. C period did very well to get both the one time framing, IB high, and ebb and flow. And then I shut down my personal account. And the reason for that was it didn't look like the market had energy to really go strong trend. So when I get my staple plays like that, and I don't think the market's going to give me a lot more for the rest of the day, I'll shut it down. And that's what I did. But then I did okay in, again, all longs. Longed F to get the day's high in NQ. Longed H when we had single print, and then again at the single print. For thinking it would be the afternoon pullback, which it was. Long I, small, with some ebb and flow longs. And then again in J, first because we had single prints, and then against the single print fill. So yesterday I was short the entire day except for one long to stop one time framing down. Today I was long the whole day. Why? Because that's what MGI told me. And it worked. And then chart-wise, again, tomorrow night, we'll recap all of these charts, something tells me, again, they'll use CPI as a reason if we come out of this big balance. Or, well, look, we're not going to get the balance. We won't get the tense low. But if you were to take out the highs, the all-time highs tomorrow, they'll use that as an excuse for CPI. And on the flip side, if you go down 1-2% tomorrow, they'll use CPI as that reason also, right? Here's the bottom line. Look at this. Keep things simple. So we break it down. Here's the big balance. The 9's high, the 10's low. But here's a mini 4-day balance now. But like I said, the 4-day balance high is just too close to the all-time high. I'm not going to say we're up unless we get the all-time high. But if we take out yesterday's low, I would call it down. That's how I'm going to look at it. Now, the 20 is at 666.71, so we're still $5 above it. So it's going to be interesting because after CPI tomorrow, there's been a lot of data that hasn't come out with this shutdown, and then you have the Fed next Wednesday. Volume was light today, 64.5 million SPY. Don't think we'll get to average. 41 for triple Qs and 27 for IWM. So today's volume was light, but the ranges were very good. Thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel. Enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.